They never imagined that your silence would become the one thing they couldn't forget. They thought your words were the important part. They thought your messages, your explanations, and your attempts to make things right were what kept the connection alive. What they never understood was that your presence carried a value they didn't fully recognize until it was gone. When someone hurts you, they usually expect a reaction. They expect questions. They expect frustration. They expect you to explain your pain and try one more time to be understood. As long as you're responding, they still feel connected to you. Even conflict can make them feel like you're still there. But then something changes. You stop explaining. You stop trying to convince someone to care. You stop repeating feelings that have already been ignored. Not because you don't have anything left to say, but because you finally realize that some people hear your words without truly listening. At first, your silence doesn't seem important. Life goes on. Days pass. Everything appears normal. They assume you'll eventually return like you always have before. After all, your attention felt constant. Your effort felt guaranteed. Your presence became something they expected rather than appreciated. And that's why they don't notice the absence right away. But silence has a strange way of growing. Little by little, the space you once filled becomes impossible to ignore. The message that never arrives. The conversation that never happens. The comfort that used to be there without being asked for. What once felt ordinary suddenly becomes noticeable. Then comes the moment when your silence begins speaking louder than your words ever did. They find themselves checking old conversations, thinking about past moments, wondering when everything changed. Questions start appearing in places where certainty once lived. Why they stop reaching out? What happened? Are they really gone? And slowly, a deeper realization begins to take shape. Your silence wasn't random. It was an answer to every time your feelings were overlooked, an answer to every moment you tried to communicate and were met with indifference, an answer to every chance you gave that wasn't fully valued. As time passes, they begin looking back differently. They remember your patience. They remember your effort. They remember how often you stayed when walking away would have been easier. Things they barely noticed before now stand out with painful clarity. And that's when the truth becomes difficult to ignore. You didn't become silent because you stopped caring. You became silent because caring alone wasn't enough. You reached a point where protecting your peace became more important than proving your worth. That realization changes everything, because now they understand that your absence isn't punishment. It's the natural result of feeling unheard for too long. Eventually, a thought enters their mind. Maybe they should reach out. Maybe they should send a message. Maybe they should try to bring back what once felt permanent. But now there's uncertainty, because time changes people. The version of you that always responded immediately, the version that carried every conversation, the version that kept giving chance after chance, that version has grown. You've learned that your voice deserves respect. You've learned that your energy has value. You've learned that not every door needs to remain open. And suddenly they aren't sure whether you'll answer the way you once did. That's when your silence becomes something they truly feel. Not just as an absence, but as a loss. They begin to understand that your voice was never just sound. It was comfort. It was support. It was connection. It was the quiet reassurance that someone genuinely cared. Now that it's gone, they finally recognize what it meant. The silence they once ignored becomes the loudest thing in the room. Because your absence didn't simply remove noise. It revealed value. And sometimes that's the lesson people learn far too late. So if you've chosen silence after being hurt, remember this. Silence is not weakness. It is clarity. It is self-respect. It is the moment you stop chasing understanding from those unwilling to give it. Sometimes growth looks like speaking up, and sometimes growth looks like saying nothing at all and walking forward in peace. If this message spoke to your heart, make sure to like this video, subscribe to TF, and keep watching for more insights on healing, self-worth, and personal growth. Your next chapter begins the moment you stop chasing what refuses to see your value. This content is created for educational and self-reflection purposes only. It explores relationship dynamics, emotional growth, and personal boundaries. Every situation is unique, so always trust your own judgment and seek professional guidance when needed.